So much of our early understanding of the characters, worlds, and relationships of Mass Effect is defined by one conflict or another. The Rachni War, the Geth War, the Krogan Rebellions, the Genophage, so it only makes sense that our understanding of how humans fit into Milky Way society is also defined by conflict. To the Turians, and most other aliens, it's called the Relay 314 incident, but humans refer to it as the First Contact War. But let's back up a bit. In 2148, 35 years prior to the events of Mass Effect 1, humanity discovers evidence of an ancient sentient alien species called the Protheans on Mars. If you want a bit more context on who and what the Protheans were, you can watch our previous Mass Effect lore video. Anyway, this discovery accelerates humanity's technological advancements when it comes to space travel. The ruins also mention an interstellar highway composed of technology called mass relays, which allows near instantaneous interstellar travel. And apparently one of those mass relays is in the solar system. A year later, humanity discovers that what was previously believed to be one of Pluto's moons is, in fact, the mass relay mentioned in the Prothean ruins. With a bit of work, humanity reactivates the relay, allowing them to travel to the Arcturus system, where they find even more relays. Thinking nothing of it, humanity starts reactivating every relay they can find, traveling far and wide across the Milky Way galaxy. 8 years later, in 2157, humanity reactivates Mass Relay 314. As it turns out, the Turians witnessed the deed and opened fire, because activating dormant relays is highly illegal in Citadel space. Why is it illegal? Well, that's a very long story and a whole other video, but basically activation of a previously dormant relay over 2,000 years prior led to the discovery of the Rachni, which led to the Rachni War, which led to the uplifting of the Krogan, which led to the Krogan Rebellions, which led to the Genophage, which is why the Turians, Solarians, and Krogan all have rather tense relationships with each other. There's so much more to those stories, but that's the basic gist of why the Citadel outlawed reactivation of dormant relays. It could potentially lead to the discovery of a dangerous species. Now, Turians are nothing if not sticklers for the rules, which is why they open fire on what they perceive to be someone breaking the law. Small problem, humanity has no idea that what we are doing is wrong. We have never encountered a living sentient species before. No one had told us the rules. So what could have been an easily explained misunderstanding instead erupted into all-out conflict that humanity would come to call the First Contact War. Humanity's response to being attacked is to get recon on the threat, and humans being humans, we don't just send scouting probes into Turian space to spy on our enemy, we send in scouting probes armed with nuclear fusion warheads, you know, just in case a probe is discovered and needs to be destroyed to avoid the Turians learning more about us. Thankfully, no probes are discovered. Unfortunately, those warheads are still floating around in Turian space by the time of the events of Mass Effect 1, a dirty little secret that humanity hopes the rest of the galaxy never discovers. Though humanity claims a few victories in the war, the Turians take the advantage early on, pushing humanity back to Shan-Shi, the human colony established just outside Mass Relay 314. The Turians then simply set siege to the colony, bombarding it with orbital strikes. Though the leader of the colony's garrison, General Williams, puts up a strong effort, he ultimately surrenders, making him the first human leader to ever surrender to an alien threat. Williams would be demoted and face prejudice from military command for the rest of his very short career as a result, and the stigma against him would pass on to his son, who also enlisted. Williams' granddaughter, Ashley Williams, would inherit this family curse next, breeding her blunt, "it's me against everyone else" attitude and initial discomfort at working closely with aliens like Tali, Liara, Garrus, and Rex.
It's not racism, not really. Members of their species will always be more important to them than humans are.
But enough of that. Believing they have won, the Turians relax, only to be surprised by the appearance of humanity's second fleet. At this point, the Citadel Council notices that a fairly major conflict is brewing under their noses and chooses to step in, negotiating peace talks between humans and Turians and ending the 3-month war. Humanity finally learns that the Milky Way is inhabited by many different species, most of whom coexist peacefully under the leadership of the Citadel Council. After seeing that humanity has a knack for waging war, the Council views humans as a much-needed asset and ally, and invites them into the galaxy-wide alliance. Humanity accepts. It isn't a smooth transition though. After hearing about how humanity's first contact with an alien race went down, most species begin to view all humans as bullies prone to violence. This perception is not helped by humanity's aggressive push to have footholds across the galaxy and a dominant voice in the Citadel. Humans face extreme prejudice from other species for years, especially from Turians like Saren, who had lost loved ones to the war. Pro-human groups began popping up in response. Most notable is Terra Firma, a human political party which opposed humanity's integration into Milky Way society, and Cerberus, a human paramilitary group that works to improve humanity's standing in the face of alien prejudice. To ease the tension, the Council orders the Turians to pay reparations to humanity. Eventually, the two species become trade partners, further improving relations between them. To symbolize the friendlier relationship between their two governments, despite the continued strain between veterans of the war, humans and Turians decide to work together, putting their combined military might and engineering architecture into one starship. That ship would become the SSV Normandy, a symbol of what can be achieved when mankind works together with aliens instead of trying to kill them. And its first mission is the opening chapter of Mass Effect 1. And that's the history behind, story of, and ramifications of the First Contact War, a war that, in the grand scheme of things, is still a relatively recent conflict in the Milky Way's history by the start of the Mass Effect trilogy. Hopefully you're now a little bit more prepared to jump into Mass Effect Legendary Edition, knowing why some humans on the SSV Normandy aren't immediately comfortable serving alongside aliens, despite what the ship represents. But speaking of First Contact, which Mass Effect alien species left the biggest first impression on you? Like, you saw them for the first time and just immediately wanted to know everything about them. Personally, I think the Quarians are fascinating, and I loved unearthing their history throughout the trilogy and talking to Tali. Usually flirtatiously. Leave your answers in the comments below, and subscribe to the channel for more Mass Effect lore videos like this one.